So maybe you can see that the development of righteous warrior energy in ourselves is one way trust grows in us. We develop confidence in our righteous warrior energy. We begin to trust ourselves, trust our own strength to handle whatever comes. And that trust is based in understanding and practicing the laws of being. Before I go on to another aspect of trust, I want to give a word of caution to women, especially in Korea. Women's warrior energy rose in America in the 1960s. So we had more years to see its effect. I want to warn you of the negative impact women's unwise warrior energy can have on men, and especially the men who honor women the most. In America, many men so abhorred their domination of women that they lost access to their own true strength. They became too soft, too sensitive, too emotional. And then you know what happened? Women did not find them attractive anymore. So you can learn from our mistakes. Okay. So I've been describing how developing trust of my mentor prepared me to trust myself and also to trust men. Another important shift in awareness came many years later. Up to that point, though all of this gave me a firm foundation and confidence, the trust I experienced was as a follower, not a full leader. That began to change in 1990 when I realized that even Martin, who was the emissary's highest leader at that time, even he was trusting. He was trusting not only us, but God, and the working of God in what we call the creative process. So up to that point, it seemed to me that only followers and students were trusting the leader. Then I saw that he was trusting just like all the rest of us. That realization began an important shift in my life that opened yet deeper trust. I began to understand that regardless of position, trust is essential to live creatively. And especially trust is essential to offer spiritual leadership. But not only that, trust is required even at the highest levels of responsibility and leadership. Recently, I found something by Yoronda, who was the first leader that founded the emissaries. It was a talk he gave that was later titled The Reality of Trust. And he was talking about moving to deeper levels of trust. So, by sharing what I will, I am not implying that you should be at this deepest level of trust. But it will show you something of where you could go. My own experience is that we often think we're trusting fully until something happens and we realize we're not. Then we have a choice. Go deeper in trust or not. So I was moved by Yoronda's message, including his personal example from his own life of service. He said that until a person deeply realizes that he or she is nothing without God, that person has not fully learned to trust. He said this level of trust is essential for rebirth. And he gave that talk in 1951. That was 19 years after he had initiated the emissaries. So, to me, for Yoronda to say, I am nothing without God, when he had already expressed all those years such a rare depth of vision and scope of vision, that emphasized to me that trust is essential even at the highest level of responsibility and leadership.
네.
So this is what he shared of his own experience. Trust. I have seen the day when that was very nearly all that I had left in outer form, my trust in God, because it looked as if my adversaries were going to take everything away. If I had not continued to trust God when it appeared that everything was going wrong, you would not be here tonight. Because in those dark hours I proved that I trusted God. You have a place to be trained. Everything that has been achieved of reality in our program has come about because of true trust in God. So I'll pause to give you a moment to just digest that.
네.
Okay, so he went on to say this. When we put 100% of our trust in God, we begin to know what it is to have God's power work in and through us. Then something is accomplished. Then we know fulfillment. Then we come to know that we are important to God. When all of our trust is in God, we can be trusted. So I think that bears much meditation. But now I want to summarize how we can reach that point. When you know your true being, and when you know the strength of your own righteous warrior energy, and when you know and practice the laws of the universe, then you are ready to deeply realize, of myself I am nothing. And that is when you become one with the universe. So as I said earlier, our trust deepens as we move naturally step by step in our highest perception of truth and in expressing our true spirit, true character. How can we start? Find the most trustworthy people you can. Observe and learn from them. How they express, live, and help others. Notice your own experience when you trust them and when you don't.
네.
What happens to your consciousness and experience, and
일어나지?
even your relationships, when you stop trusting those who are most trustworthy? Or when you stop trusting God, the power that creates all life and beauty? In what state do you experience greater peace, strength, and creativity? When you trust or don't?
Yep.
Observing this honestly, we begin to understand and know what trust is, and how important it is to expressing creatively our highest potential.
네. 말이죠.
So, trust in heaven, truth, God, the creative process is how we can live most creatively, and also how we can offer the leadership that is unique for us to bring.
네.
So hopefully all of this has at least brought you to consider
네.
trust is an essential quality of spiritual leadership. Probably all of you have heard for a long time, trust God. But maybe through what we've shared today, you can realize the depths of what that really means. And that it's okay that we have our own unique journey in exploring it. And I think some of you were implying through your comments things that come that are even very uncomfortable are part of what help you discover that trust.
네.
Ultimately, trust in God is trust in ourselves. And as somebody else implied, when we truly do trust God, trust ourselves,
네.
it actually opens a channel for the world to trust through us to God. That's a little bit of what I meant. We become one with the universe.
네.
We're part of this magnificent flow of love, of reality, of meaning. I'm so glad to see those of you online today. And thank you so much for all who have come here. And now I guess we'll go to the next...